Welcome everyone to the California College and Career webinar. I usually do this, I normally at events do this at the end, but it's easier if I do it at the beginning. So our events, all of our resources, everything like that is sponsored very generously by a whole host of sponsors. So we have Akamai Technologies, Amazon, Amgen Foundation, the Arnold and Kay Charitable Foundation, BAE, Gilead Sciences, Hologic, Illumina Foundation, Infineon Technologies Foundation, Jacobs Engineering, KLA, Lockheed Martin, Novartis Institute of Biomedical Research, Psychmedics Corporation, Spark Therapeutics, TC Energy Foundation, Vulcan Materials, and WestRock. I am with the Center for Excellence in Education, which was founded in 1983 by Duran DeGennaro and Admiral Rickover, who's the father of the nuclear navy and civilian uses of nuclear power. And our mission is to nurture high school and university scholars to careers of excellence and leadership in STEM. We offer 3 cost-free programs to teachers and students in the United States, which are the Research Science Institute, USA Bio Olympiad, and the Teacher Enrichment Program. So RSI is a highly competitive 6-week summer science and engineering program open to rising high school seniors. And normally they meet at MIT for 6 weeks, but we're doing it virtually, pandemic. And it combines on-campus coursework in scientific theory with off-campus work in science and technology research. And this is the part that I did not edit today, apparently. Applications are actually open now, and the applications are due in early January. We also have the USA Bio Olympiad, which is the nation's largest biology education testing program. It's open to any high school student, and I think it's 4 exams testing knowledge of biology concepts. We end up having the top 20 attend, they do a fun little camp for 2 weeks in June. And then the top 4 then go on to the International Biology Olympiad, which very impressively has been hosted virtually the past 2 summers. And then, and they also have a variety of really phenomenal resources available. So if you are studying for AP or IB biology classes, or you teach that, their resources are particularly phenomenal. And I work with TEP. So TEP provides opportunities for middle and high school teachers to connect with leading experts from academia, industry, as well as government to explore the latest and greatest kind of in STEM. And I hope to also provide a variety of resources that support students and teachers in their classroom. This year, we're doing a whole bunch of different events. So I'm doing a kind of what I normally do when we are in person, which is a Bite of Science event. I'm doing that virtually. We're doing these STEM college and career webinars. I'm also hosting monthly Square Root of STEM events where we try to take a look at sort of popular topics that we all kind of know about, but look at the science behind them. I also maintain a website that has a lot of resources. And then certainly if anyone is ever interested in connecting with a STEM professional or researcher, you just let me know and I will try to find someone for you. Just want to share what our lab bench looks like. So we have a whole bunch of videos, a whole bunch of resources they're free to use. And again, the other part of public-private partnerships is if you're ever just looking for a resource, please just let me know. I'm happy to look. I look at resources, educational resources for STEM all the time. So I could usually find what you're looking for. I also wanted to very briefly share for California specifically some sort of statistics about what are the fastest growing occupations. So I have a list there. And then I very specifically wanted to know a couple of occupations that were, required a high school diploma and some that required certificate and associate's degrees, and I have to say, most interestingly, all of them pay pretty well. I feel like I kind of wasted some money in college a little bit. Besides personal care aides, they make good money for having, for being an associate or a high school degree requirement. I just want to share that with everyone. So today we will hear from Amanda Issa, who's the Guided Pathways Regional Coordinator at the Foundation for California Community Colleges, Emmanuel Lopez, who's a STEM counselor at Chabot College, and Imani Bethel, who's a field scientist at Illumina. And Imani, I'm sorry, I might have gotten your title wrong. I apologize if I did. And lastly, if you have any questions for our panelists, submit them to the Q&A function and we'll all get back on screen and answer them at the end. Amanda, you can take it away.
All right. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Amanda Issa. I am a regional coordinator with the Foundation for California Community Colleges. It's great to be with you all tonight. My job title is just very vague. but it almost encompasses just about everything possible that needs to happen with supporting our community colleges throughout the state. So I do work statewide with an emphasis on the Bay Area colleges, all 28 of them. And so we do a lot of work in helping to support and redesign and look at student success. How can we improve? How can we do better? How can we close equity gaps? It's a deep dive into how we can make our schools just that much better for our students, for our communities. How can we ensure pathways towards careers and towards outcomes that are desirable for students? And how do we keep up to date with an ever-changing workforce? And so if you told me I would have this position when I first started in high school, I'd be like, I don't even know what that is. Like, I give me a map. I don't know how to get there. And that's the thing that we're trying to do as well. We're trying to create these pathway maps for students to have ideas of how to get to their places that they want to go. I started off in neuroscience. I was determined to be in the sciences. That's all I ever wanted to study. I did just about every type of summer camp you can do or after school program in science. I studied that in college. I had full intentions of going to medical school. I actually worked in the ER for quite a long time. Loved just that whole atmosphere, but something happened without getting into too much detail where I just got so drawn to education. I thought that maybe my skill set, although I loved science, was something that I could take to the classroom and just share that with so many more students who can all become the workforce we needed in healthcare. And so I spent over a decade throughout the Bay Area teaching every science subject you could think of, because I just happened to always work at small schools, and every year it'd be like a new class, a new curriculum. So everything from medical chemistry to senior seminars to anatomy, physio, I taught it. And I loved it. I got into the college side of things, the community college side of things, when I started teaching medical assisting as a high school instructor. I got onboarded with the community college to teach dual enrollment. And the purpose behind this was that we noticed our students would go off to a 4-year and just would come back home within the first year. Financial stability is one of the biggest hurdles for our students. And although they wanted careers in health and science, it was hard to financially support themselves through college, and the rigor of the subjects were just weighing on them. So a thought was, why don't we get them started at an entry-level career that had growth, that could also provide suitable wages to get them through school? So we created a medical assisting program. So students graduated high school with a certificate to start working at above minimum wage. And so that's how I got my foot into the door in community college spaces. And then since then, I've worked as instructor, as coordinator, just in different areas about working between that transition space, that high school to college. How can we improve it? How can we support students who've maybe gone a different way from education, and when they want to come back in, how can we support systems impacted students, lifelong learners, everywhere throughout that space. But I especially really enjoy, how do we create that seamless transition from high school to college? So I'm here to talk a little bit about those opportunities that exist in that particular space around STEM, because that's almost clearly like, that's my passion. It's like getting in that science education and opportunities for career. So I think it's one, to expose students to science and ensure, like, to fuel that love of that learning, of that excitement, but also to show them what that career looks like in the real world. So if you enjoy doing this kind of experiment or this kind of thinking, these are the careers that are available to you. I just want to show you real quick, this is the team I work with throughout the state. And so there's 18 of us around California that support the community colleges. And I encourage you that if you have a community college in your area that you'd love to partner with and you're not sure where to start, feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to just support those networks. It is really hard to know, who do I go to if I want to do something? And we've got people inside who can try to help navigate that way. So please do let me know. This is the team throughout the state. We have this vision about what we're going to do across the state to support students. We really want to increase transfer, which is one of the things I think Emmanuel will talk a little bit about as well with STEM, and how important it is to know your pathway when you first get started. We talk a lot about, how do we improve the classrooms? How do we ensure that learning is culturally relevant? How do we ensure that students are made aware of opportunities and resources? So we also talk about financial aid supports. How can we make school affordable? How can we make students feel a part of that community? I share this with you all because our colleges are really doing a lot of deep work into recreating that community that exists at our colleges. And with that comes a lot of opportunities in connecting to industry partners, to the high school partners. They're eager for this relationships. And so it's a very exciting time with our colleges. To just share with you very quickly some opportunities that you all have. One big opportunity, if you're a student out there and you're interested in getting into college or like just starting out a little bit, like testing it out, dual enrollment is a great way to take a low stakes course, like a 1 unit or 2 unit course, and see how you feel that college rigor. How does that fit for your learning styles? What kind of courses do you enjoy? This is something that schools often make available through very created, like drafted programs. So like your high school might have a dual enrollment program, but also it's something you can do on your own. You can go sign up by yourself with a parent signature and a principal signature, and you can take classes for almost free or very little cost. And this is a great way to just get your foot into college and see how you feel about it. For the teachers out there who are like, you know, I love the classroom, I want to keep doing this, but I'm also interested in seeing what other spaces I can teach in. I urge you that if you're interested in becoming a college instructor, you can do both. You can do both. If you wanted to work, 18 hours a day or whatever you might feel like. I remember having instructors who were both teaching during the day at the high school, and they'd go teach a government course at night at the community college. If you have a master's in a specific subject, you're qualified to teach at a community college. And I really encourage that for a number of reasons. We need to diversify our higher education field. We need to bring in really qualified teachers in understanding pedagogy and teaching and learning. And so I really do passionately feel that our K-12 educators bring so much to learning that I feel like would have a really great impact and influence on our community college system. So teachers out there, if you're interested, I would check that out. And lastly, people may not realize it, but our community colleges have really strong industry partnerships within workforce that kind of help students who need to stay within the community to get jobs and really have a clear track of where to go within STEM. We have relationships with different laboratories, different computer science tech programs and companies. And so I really do encourage students at the community college to look into that. You can get a lot of one-on-one support and guidance through the different STEM fields into careers because the industry partners want to hire and they don't know where to go to get students who have really specific skill sets. And oftentimes it is the community college. And so this is just a few things to share with you all about what we offer in our spaces. And please do think of some questions you might have, and we'll be answering those in just a moment. I'm just too excited to share with you all. One of my great colleagues, he's a STEM counselor at Chabot College, Emmanuel Lopez, and he's going to share a little bit about what it's like at the college.
Hi, everyone. My name is Emmanuel Lopez, and thank you, Amanda, for that wonderful introduction. I am a MESA STEM counselor, and so we have an amazing program at the community college. A little bit about myself first to begin is I began at Bethel Junior College, a community college in the Central Valley in California. And then where I transferred to UC Santa Barbara, where I wanted to be a history teacher. And I was like, this is what I want to do. But then I went into the classroom and I realized I like the high school age, but I started working with a lot of college students as well. And I was like, I really like the college piece. And so I ended up doing the best of the both worlds because I'm counseling because I love that one-on-one piece, but I'm also teaching at the community college. So I became a community college counselor and I've been at Chabot for 7 years. For the last few years, I've been working in the MESA program. That's the mathematics, engineering, science, academic achievement program. And I feel like I love the program because it's set up for STEM students to transfer. And the reason why that's so important is because we have a huge diverse population at Chabot College. We're a Title V Hispanic serving institution. We were just actually afforded another STEM grant, so we're going to be seeing a lot more resources just pour into Chabot College for our STEM students. And so I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next slide. And so the MESA program, a little bit about that. So I always really, really encourage. We're not located at every single community college, but most community colleges in California will have something, or a lot of community colleges will actually have a MESA or a TRIO program or something to support students. And we support first-gen students from low-income backgrounds or first-generation college students where the parents never went to college or graduated from a college or university. And why is this key is because this is so critical, because as a first generation college graduate myself, like I always tell my students, like, I didn't know who to ask for help. I didn't know who to ask for support, right? And our program provides that support and that help. And we'll do workshops for our students regarding STEM majors, right? And we will help them with tutoring regarding the their STEM courses, you know, our calculus courses, our biology courses, our chemistry courses, right? All of those courses, we provide that tutoring and support. And we also provide a strong faculty mentorship program. So our students that are in the MESA program could actually get connected with faculty within the field that they're interested in and be mentored. So the MESA program, I just can't say enough about it. I love it. I'm sure y'all can kind of see. I'm going to go ahead, but I want to give you also some tips as well on what is helpful for those of you maybe that are students out there, or as well as teachers out there. So just a couple things that I want to throw out for teachers, like the AP units are so important. And we have a lot of students that will come into the community college. They've taken some AP courses, but they never took the exams. That's one thing I tell my students: if you want those units, you know, we're gonna need for you to take that exam. Typically for us, we need at least a score of a 3, 4, or 5, so they can get credit for, you know, general education courses, possibly college credit courses for those AP. They work so hard in those AP courses, and I'm sure many of you out there are teachers, right, that are doing those AP courses. You all work so hard for them as well. So we make sure to let them know to take that test. So if they can get that credit, they can get that college credit and just really start, I feel like, ahead of the game when they do that. Many of our students are going to transfer to the CSUs, the California State Universities, or the University of California. Like, you know, we're located in the Bay Area. So like by a lot of sense, send a lot of students to UC Berkeley, to UC Davis, to UC Santa Cruz. And if they have some AP units, a lot of times it's nice because we can either shorten the time at the community college because they have some of those units already taken care of, or they can start off quickly and hit the ground running. So I tell my students, like, if you have any of those AP units and you have any of those, like, big one for teachers, I always say, make sure to take that test and make sure to let a counselor know right away that you have them. Because we had a lot of students that have taken the AP units or have they taken the AP test, and they'll come in and then they don't let us know, and then they're taking that class over again. So of course we try to ask them as well, but it's always a good reminder to let students know. And then if they have concurrent enrollment or dual enrollment, so if they're taking some courses in high school that are counted for college credit, that is so key, because again, that could save you some courses when you're at the community college. And why is that important? Because as a STEM student, many of our STEM students, we're always telling them you have to start off with your major courses. So you're starting off with your biology course, you're starting off with your math course, and then typically your general education, like an English course. That heavy load is, you know, it could be heavy just starting off. So many of our students were like, you're coming from high school and then you're going to transition into college where it's only Monday and Wednesday or Tuesday and Thursday. And a lot of that reading that is just expected for you on your own. So it's so important to have, like, if you have those AP units or you've taken college courses, you've already understood how some of the college system works, how some of those classes work. Additionally, you don't have to do this alone. I tell my students all the time, join a program like a MESA program. But in the community college, we have tons of programs. Like, we have the extended opportunity programs and services. Of course, we have that MESA program. We'll have STEM programs. We'll have I feel I'm blanking right now, but we have so many different programs for first year experience programs, through the guided pathways programs. You usually can connect with a counselor and we could advise on what programs we have. Now, just remember, every community college works a little different. So just checking in with the students to see what is at their local community college and what programs do they offer and what requirements. And one big thing that we offer is priority registration. And I'm going to tell you right now that priority registration, so they can register that first day or second day of classes, is huge for our STEM students because it allows them to take those courses that they need and progress in like a timely manner. So those are some things that are just so critical and key. We also have tag programs that we work for. So transfer admission guarantee program with like the UCs that you can connect with if you take these certain amount of courses or the courses and you get the certain amount of GPA, then you can go ahead and transfer, and you're guaranteed to transfer to certain UCs like UC Davis, UC Santa Cruz. And a lot of our STEM majors participate in those programs so they can get that guaranteed admission. One little tip that I tell my students, if you're going to community college and you're taking your STEM series, like your classes, like your math classes or your biology classes, that you just take them at the same community college, because you don't want to call what's called break the series. You don't want to take a biology 1A somewhere and then take a biology 6 at another community college, because when you're transferring, that can create some issues. So some tips. And also through MESA, we help students find REUs, so research experience for undergraduates, which is so important, because I tell my students all the time, like, you want to make sure that you're getting in that experience to know what you're doing, to make sure that you like what you're doing, right? Because otherwise, you're going to get there and be like, oh no, maybe I should have studied this field or researched this field. And the networks that they create and connect through those REUs are just amazing. And these research experience for undergraduates can have students get basically housing, they can get a stipend, and then of course they get the research project that they get some hands-on experience. So they learn a lot. So just some quick tips that I wanted to throw out there for you. And then I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Imani.
I'm honored to be here. Thank you guys for having me. My name is Imani Bethel. I am a field application scientist with Illumina. I think this talk will actually help you guys sort of see the importance of building a good foundation, and definitely use all of these resources that I'm hearing about. Like, I wish some of these programs were around when I was in school. But you could go to the next slide, please, Kim. So just a little bit background about me. I am originally from Nassau, Bahamas. I moved to the United States in 2005, right after high school. So it was a great culture shock to come from the Bahamas to move to a little town called Terrell, Texas, which was just a huge adjustment for me, cultural wise. That is where I started off my collegiate career. I then transferred from a junior college, a 2-year junior college, to a 4-year college, Morgan State University, which is in Baltimore, Maryland. And I completed my biology undergraduate studies there. From there, I then moved to Houston, Texas, just because life happened and I just needed somewhere to go. My brother was located in Texas, so I decided to move there, to move here. And during that time, I worked at Quest Diagnostics for a while as just a lab tech. I had an undergraduate degree in biology, so I figured do lab work. I could do lab work like I was doing in school. So why not just earn money doing it at a job, at a company? I did that for about a year, and things was working out just fine until I had to abruptly sort of change situations, because I'm from the Bahamas. I was working on what was called what was it? I can't remember. I'm blanking on what it's called right now. A student visa. I had a student visa under the STEM program, and was working on getting it extended, but things happened and that didn't work out. So I sort of had to figure out a plan B, and it was either enroll in school again or go back to the Bahamas. So I tried, and luckily, or fortunately, I was able to enroll in Texas Southern University, where I completed my master's level degree in biology as well. While attending TSU, I did research in a genetics lab. I'd always, genetics was my favorite course in undergrad as a biology course. So I figured, let's give it a try working in a genetics lab. And that's where things sort of started to fire off for me. And I figured that was what I wanted to do, but just didn't know exactly how to pursue it. But it was a valuable research experience for me, because it gave me crucial foundation for taking off my career pretty much. Once I graduated from my master's level degree, I then got a job in a molecular diagnostic lab called Baylor Genetics Diagnostic Lab. I worked there for about a year and a half, which was a great experience. I thoroughly enjoyed it. However, I realized like lab work was just repetitive. I could go to work, do the same thing, run some tests, set up PCR, get results for patients. It was cool, but it was just repetitive, and it just felt like it didn't challenge me. I also worked part-time as a waitress and a bartender, just to get a little fun out of life and earn some extra money, which ironically was probably the two biggest pillars for me interviewing for my current position at Illumina. So I joined Illumina in 2017. Illumina is a DNA sequencing company, if you all didn't know. But I joined the team with not having any prior sequencing experience. So I want to reiterate to any students and also any teachers on the call that having your foundation is extremely important, because had I not had a good foundation in those base level biology courses, anatomy, physiology, genetics, there is no way I would have been able to successfully been hired at this company and also thrive in the role that I'm currently in. So Illumina, our goal is to unlock the power of the human genome, and some of those pillars of power that we can get from genomics can range from oncology. I can't really see your screen, so I'm just going to look over here. Oncology, genetic disease, NIPT, population genomics. And then, as you recently noticed, COVID-19 surveillance is huge. So I've actually gotten a chance to work with a lot of labs that are doing COVID-19 surveillance in the most odd sort of sample sizes that we would even think of. I have customers who do COVID surveillance in wastewater samples just to see what is the level of viral sequence that we're finding in a population's wastewater. Like, who thought that we should look into wastewater? So we cover a broad range of unlocking the power of the human genome, as you would see. So at the moment, the company is global. It's globally located. Been around for a while. We have about more than 7,000 people that work at Illumina. The current CEO is Francis D'Souza. The headquarters is located in San Diego, California. Oh, there it is. It was founded in 1998, but it went public a little bit later than that. So here's some of the countries and places that we operate. The Americas is sort of one main region. Then we have EMEA, which Eastern, Middle Europe. I don't remember what it stands for. And then we also have APA, which is Asia Pacific. And so this is just a slide to just show you where all the possibilities are endless in terms of where can you work in the world for Illumina. So as I stated, our mission is unlocking the power of the human genome to improve human health. And when I'd like to share, when I first looked at Illumina's mission statement, when I first even was interested in what the company did, just seeing this mission statement really spoke to me. And I even said it in my interview, and I said it may sound corny, but that seems remarkable to me. Our genome is like the blueprint. Our unique sequence is the thing that tells us exactly how each individual will work, what flaws we may have, or I would say quote unquote flaws, and how we work as an individual. So figuring out what makes us tick and how we could possibly make edits or make any sort of corrections seemed just remarkable to me. It just seemed the baseline for personalized health plans for each of us. So our why. Genomics will change everything from how we diagnose and treat cancer to feeding the world's population. By partnering with educators, we can inspire the next generation of scientists, engineers, and innovators. So We are extremely passionate about making sure that the next generation of scientists know our goal, know our mission, and we could bring in those that will help fuel our mission and help us get to our goal of unlocking the power of the human genome. So we have a few STEM programs that we partner with, like such as this. I actually have a link that I need to share with you, Kim, so that you can send out to all the attendees. But we definitely have a number of opportunities for you in the California area to either come on site. We have Skype a Scientist initiatives. We also have local FASs or field application scientists and engineers that will happily volunteer to come on site into your individual classrooms, do experiments, talk about career opportunities, talk about our career paths and such. Next slide. And then finally, I have here a list of our upcoming events. Our Festival of Science and Engineers next year, March, and then DNA Day, we celebrate it big every year, is April 25th. We look forward to collaborating with you. I realize Kim sort of mentioned in the beginning why she's sharing my slides for me. So as a field application scientist, I actually get to go to my customers. So I work remotely, so does everybody else that in my same role. And we get to travel to our customers in order to train them on how to use our equipment, train them on how to use our applications. We're usually the boots on the ground to help troubleshoot and resolve any issues that they may be having in their labs. So I was out traveling today, and travel can sometimes throw a loophole. And so you have to be willing to roll with the punches. So here I am in my truck talking to you guys and just happy to be here.
Let's get to some questions. Can students try to reach out to you directly for just some help and direction? Because I know for a lot of students, I imagine that's why they're asking this. For a lot of students, it's very confusing.
So for me, if there's a couple of students, absolutely, I could definitely provide that direction. It's just at the community college, for the high school students, we always have to say you have to start with your high school counselor first, because I'm not actually sure the reason why, but I know that that's what they tell them. But there's my email out there. If you have a student that's very interested, I would love to just give resources, give them a heads up where they can find everything. And then of course, if I have time, I'll definitely reach out.
And then if you have those resources, send them to me too, so I can post them on my website.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, I was going to say the college counselors are pretty swamped. It's, 1,000 to 1 kind of situation. But Emmanuel's amazing, and he will, he's already said it, he will support you. But I also really encourage you to go to your high school counselor and say, I need a contact at the community college. And if they can't provide that for you, go search online and look for a counselor you can call. A lot of our community colleges in California now have these really cool chat features that you can talk directly to somebody. So it'll pop up on the bottom of the screen, or you'll see something like chat with a support something. Go there and email everybody, until you get a message back. I will say I'm in I feel free to reach out to me. I can connect you. I'm not the counselor, but I can connect you to folks. So please feel free to reach out to me as well.
Yeah, I guess in a very similar vein, because I know, and I look at resources all the time about STEM education and STEM pathways and all of my work is to try to connect the education with the career, and sometimes I struggle to find it. So I understand this question very well. Yeah. But where does someone find good information about career pathways? How do they, what careers they might be good at? How do you, I maybe am interested in health sciences, but do I want to go respiratory therapist or phlebotomist?
I could answer that question. We get that a lot, and we have actually a lot of the community college have a career class, and a lot of times what they have embedded is some career assessments that they'll do. And once they get this career assessments, usually they'll work with the counselor, and the counselor can provide them with the resources and be like, oh, you're really interested in the STEM field. Here are some resources that we're going to get you started. also in the community college, a lot of times we have these pathways that are STEM pathways that you could actually, if you join like a first year experience program, or you're in what's called a guided pathway and a STEM pathway that will have actually people from STEM careers come and talk to the students about their careers. And they usually start them off with like an intro to STEM class. So those are really great connections that I tell my students to take advantage of.
Yeah.
That is super cool. Okay, so for all three of you, because I mean, I think all three of you kind of alluded to this, but like, you know, could you speak to, you know, like, I think this is something that's really interesting with STEM careers is transferable skills, right? I actually genuinely know through and through that I am much better at my job because I have a degree in biochemistry, even though it's an education. So how do you see your experiences and educational backgrounds really shaping your current work?
As far as my educational background, having an undergrad and master's level degree in biology definitely built a great foundation for me as far as being able to be good at my job, because I'm responsible for training customers on how to do DNA sequencing. So sometimes it requires a level of going back to, okay, exactly what is DNA? What are we looking at? What is a mutation? What's a variant? So sometimes I have to take things back all the way to like molecular biology level and some of my customer trainings, or even some basic chemistry. At times we use reagents that such as sodium hydroxide that's hydrophilic, and then I have to explain like hydrophilic will absorb moisture from there. So it's like it's the little things that count in terms of being able to transfer information for something that's so complex such as DNA sequencing. The second thing that I found really interesting about my background was that working as a waitress and bartender, it gave me a set of skills that I didn't even think would be important in life, and it's just people management. That's the best way I can put it, because there are times when I'm in a lab and I have a PI who needs to have results done, and then I'm also working with a lab tech they're just on a bench. And not to say that one person is more important than the other, but sometimes the personalities are quite different. So you have one person who may be sort of screaming at you, and then one person who's just willing to work with you. And in those settings, I find that having certain difficult customers in the restaurant setting definitely helped me prepare for having like some tense conversations and help to manage people in certain situations.
That's a great answer.
Yeah, I mean, Imani, I thought Imani was like awesome. Like, I think you're absolutely right with those transferable skills. You know, for me, I was just gonna kind of give a couple examples of some students actually that I've had, like some students that for engineering, and you know, they went from engineering to like real estate, which is really just like completely off, right? But they're like, well, in engineering, we're thinking about systems. How do we make things better? And we're organizing them, so we're trying to figure out how to solve this, right? And so what we've done is we've used these skills into real estate, and we thought, okay, what am I going to buy? What's the property going to buy? What are some problems that are going to happen? How am I going to attack those? And then how am I going to systematically look at it again and do it better and do it better and better and better, right? And then they're really successful. And so a lot of the training that's used, I feel like in STEM has helped my students just do whatever they would like. But I love what Imani's saying is like getting that diverse set of transferable skills is so important, because when I have students, and we have a local Costco and we have a lot of students that work there, right? And so they'll go there and they'll have that customer service experience. And just like you were saying, like they've dealt with so many different types of people that when they get into the STEM world, they're able to relate to so many more. And that just helps them so much tremendously in their career and just going through school and going through classes. So those are just a couple things. I don't know if I hit some of those points, though?
No, I love it because I feel like this actually really leads me to the big, for me, when I think about transferable STEM skills, because everyone's always like, oh, the scientific method and like the engineering design process are totally different things. They're not. I mean, like, yeah, they are-ish, but like they're both basically just iterative processes. Can you, take in some information, like look at a problem, apply that information to that problem? Did it work out? Did it not work out? And then figure out how to do it better. And I think, I like to talk about that because I think that's the piece that we miss all the time, right? Is that it's all just an iterative process. And that's useful everywhere.
I love that you just said that, because that was actually what I was coming to mind for me, because I was thinking about all the labs I've done from, middle school all through college and beyond. And it was, you had a system and you followed the steps and your outcomes would sometimes work, sometimes wouldn't. I always remember the solving for X chemical lab I did and like not getting the right chemical at the end. What could I have done differently? What should I have done this way? That iterative process of being able to like see the way to go about the strategy to go about a problem or conflict, and then do it again and identify different variables and adjust and go as you need. I think it builds like a resilience. And so I think our STEM students have this different type of resilience to see problems, see conflict, navigate their way, adjust as needed, do it again. And the reason that I feel is so important in my work in particular is we're supporting colleges and partners through systems change, how to adjust, how to go through this. And I didn't realize how difficult it is for folks to go through changes at institutions or to imagine teaching in a different way, because my mind was so built around doing it over and over again, like always changing, always adjusting things as needed. But more so, I think I've also, having that STEM background, I've had to learn to describe the work to those who are not science-based. And so I had to learn a different type of translation of knowledge that I think has helped in working with partners all across the board. Communication is not just specific languages, it's also like terminologies and ways of work. And so that ability to kind of translate has really helped me in my work. And I loved it when I never really knew what I was doing until I heard a NASA engineer, Diana Trujillo. She said, that's exactly what she does at NASA. And I was like, why didn't I know that? Why didn't I know that was a career when I was in high school? The ability to understand different partners and different departments, the scientists here, the engineers there, and translate the work and build that partnership all together. That's like a career. So it's exciting, the transferable skills you get from being in STEM to all the different ways it plays out in career.
Awesome, thank you. Those are fabulous answers. I don't see any more questions on here, so I will end with my favorite question for panelists, which is, if you had one piece of advice to give to students, or two's fine too, about sort of embarking on some sort of STEM career pathway, what would it be?
One of the things I tell my students all the time is to do some informational interviewing. Just try to create networks. Like, you don't know who you know, but if you ask enough people, your friends, somebody probably has somebody they know in STEM, and an informational interview where they can just find out a little bit more about what they do every day. If you could do enough of those, you might be able to find your why. And if you're able to find that why, then you're just able to be motivated and just go after it. So that would be my thing.
Awesome. And a tip on finding scientists, you can just look up the engineering and science societies, because they love to connect with students.
I would say, don't let the timing of like your school, like how many years it's going to take to finish something, be the limiting factor into what you want to do. And I say that because I went into as a bioengineer, and when I was told it's going to take me personally 5 years instead of what I thought had to be 4, I totally changed my options because I was so restricting myself by time. If I could go back, and with my younger siblings, we didn't think of time as a limiting factor. It just opens more opportunities. It really allows you to follow things, your passion and the things you start yourself to do. So yeah, I would say you can be a student for as long as you want. And like the workplace is work. I mean, it's great too, but being a student is a time that you want to really soak in as much as possible. So yeah, that would be my advice.
Do I feel you on that? Because I realized that I was not cut out for a career in biochemistry halfway through my junior year of college. And at that point I was like, well, I'll just finish.
Yeah.
I'm gonna piggyback off that in sorts and just say, just be willing to sort of roll with the punches. Like when I went to school, I wanted to be a forensic pathologist until I realized I had to go to medical school, and I was like, nah, that is not for me. I thought I wanted to be a pharmacist, and I couldn't get into pharmacy school because I couldn't pass. I think calculus 2. I took the class twice and failed both times. I even had a tutor. I was devastated, but somehow I'm still making it. So yeah, I'll just say, just roll with the punches. Sometimes failures can teach you a lot about yourself. Like to this day, I couldn't tell you anything about calculus, but I love what I do.
I have to add something to that if it's okay, because you just really spoke to me. And I didn't realize it until my younger brother was struggling. He goes, I'm just not made out for college. And I realized we don't actually share our own struggles. Like I didn't share with him that I failed, that I went into college at the top of my class in high school, and then I struggled like my entire time in college. And I don't think we share that it's difficult. Failure is part of it, but it's like what you do when that happens. And I don't even think failing it's not a thing you do. You may think it is because the letter matches, but it's like you are learning and you still keep moving from that. And I think it's really important not to let one setback determine everything for you. And just know that as long as you're still moving, you are meant to be there.
No, awesome, Imani, because I was also just thinking about how I had taken 2 years of calculus. I managed to get a 3 on an AP calculus exam. I cannot save a calculus problem to save my life. I can't do derivation or integration. I went back to my high school and talked to my AP calculus teacher, and I was like, did you see that I got a 3? And he was like, you almost failed this course. I do not understand how you pulled a 3. I think some of that is like, I'm pretty good at like muddling through. But yeah, 2 years of calculus, can't do it to save my life. Thank you again. And I hope you all have a wonderful evening.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.